They killed another black boy. They killed another black boy, 15 years old, Quawan Charles. I mean, it happens over and over and over again, and we sit here and deliberate and debate whether or not this child deserved to be murdered, whether or not anyone deserves to be murdered in some of the most brutal ways imaginable, and to have their murders explained away with nonsense that literally contradicts every piece of evidence. They are claiming that this boy was found in a water source, like a river or a lake or a stream, and that some things in the water got to his face and like his body, and like that's why we're seeing what we're seeing when it comes to the entire ravaging of this boy. Like, this boy was, oh my god, oh my god. I mean, his face was just so, I saw a picture in several of the videos I've spread, and his face was so mutilated. You could only compare it to Emmett. I mean, he was completely just beaten. Like, this boy was beaten. He was dragged by the back of a car, it seems. Like, his face is all skidded. Like, he skid on the side of a road. Like, it's really crazy. This is really crazy. I cannot even believe it. Like, but I can so believe it. This stuff happens all of the time. This happens all the time to us. I mean, to refer back to Emmett's case, I mean, a white woman claimed back in 1955 that this black boy, teenager, around the same age as Quawan, whistled at her and, disrespected her, defiled her with his gestures and with his, cockiness and black male dominance. And, you know, her brother and her husband decided to teach this boy a lesson. So they forced him to carry a 75-pound van or more down this creek or lake or something, on the side of which they beat him and gouged his eye out, beat him to death, and drowned him by tying his body to this van. Like, he was unrecognizable. He didn't even look like a human. He didn't even look like a human being. But this is what's happened today. They are so hush-hush about this case right now. The police are not looking into this the way they should be. They're going very slow as usual with black cases. They are, there's a call that came through to the mother. Can you imagine? You're literally sitting here praying the worst does not come. And you get a call from the worst. In the form of this woman who sounds to be an older white woman. She claims her son was with your son, or he was around, or she was around and he was around. The story is a little vague, but it was also very explicit. Like, there was talk of the car smelling of bleach after the, a neighbor, which was a mother, a husband, and a son who was like 17, who was apparently friends, this is a white family. The boy was friends with apparently Quawan, Charles. They picked him up unbeknownst to the mother. The mother had no idea. There was no permission given. And he, she describes on the phone apparently that somebody couldn't smoke in the car because the mother had claimed that they had just bleached down the car. Like something out of like some natural born killer shit. Like, this is crazy. This is beyond. The family, mind you, is out of town. They have left. Who knows where they are? The family has literally hired a U-Haul, packed up, and gotten out of town. The police have not questioned them. They did not go after them. Nothing. Knowing what we know as the public, we would go after these people and tell them not to leave town, and they would be our main suspects. Depending on what evidence they had, they would be in jail right now, including the son. But you're telling me they got to hire a U-Haul and move out quick? Quick, fast, and in a hurry. I see you. So, this is beyond. This is beyond. Like, I can't imagine what this mother is going through. Like, to get a call like that. You're sitting here praying to God your son is not dead. And you get a call from someone who tells you some gruesome, disturbing story that no one would want to hear about. But you as a mother, the mother of the child in question. They found his body in Laurelville, I believe, Louisiana. They're trying to claim that they found him in some water source, and that's why his face is eaten up. His face looks like he has a cleft on one side. His lip is just gone. Both of them. On one side of his face, his lips are just gone. Teeth showing, everything. Like, he's got skid marks all over his face. It looks like his body was dragged, or he was dragged while he was living by the back of a vehicle. This is insane. This is insane. And they claim most of these cases are suicides. Do not even pretend you have not heard most of these cases presented to us, the public, we the public, as suicides. This reminds me a lot as well of Kendrick Johnson. Kendrick Johnson, if you don't know, what is this black teenage boy who was around the same age as Emmett, as Quawan. His body was found rolled up in one of the mats in the PE gymnasium area. They're claiming that he died of positional asphyxia because he allegedly tried to get a shoe out of the mat and fell in and got stuck and suffocated. That doesn't make any sense because the shoe wasn't even in the mat. And it also doesn't make any sense because nothing was pronounced, nefarious or suspicious about his body when the autopsy was done by the state. But when the family had his body exhumed and paid for a personal autopsy, they found newspapers replacing his organs that were taken out of his body. Newspapers. They filled this boy up with newspapers and took his organs. But to this day, they have pronounced this a closed case, that there was nothing nefarious going on, save for the family costing the city money trying to look into this case. So they've charged the family for the legal costs of these pursuits to get justice for their son. This is crazy. But this reminds me of that case. These cases where they say that it's a suicide or it's an accident that was caused by the victim. All of these victim blaming scenarios in which you can't find any sense, within which you can find no sense whatsoever. I'm going to leave it with that, but there's a GoFundMe raising monetary rewards for the family and the attorney costs for Quawan Charles. Please look into that, and may you enjoy yourselves and stay safe. Get a gun, people. Protect yourselves. It's getting crazy.